Hi, I'm Norm. I work for Crutchfield, and today we're going to show you how to wall mount a TV. What we have here is a TV that's we've already taken out of the box. It's brand new, and the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to mount what these are called the verticals, and they're going to get mounted to the TV. This is what the TV actually hangs off of, and in this particular one, there is an adjustment knob. It's important that when you hook the verticals that the knobs are facing on the outside, not the inside. Much easier if the knobs are on the outside, you can just reach from the side, adjust it. If they're on the inside, you got to reach up from underneath, and it's kind of awkward. So you'll need a Phillips screwdriver, and on most TVs, there'll be 4 mounting holes, pretty much all TVs. So you want to make sure that when you're putting this on here, that the bottom edge or the verticals are not sticking out past. Works fine, just doesn't look good. So on a lot of TVs, there is a shipping screw that's designed to protect the back of the panel. Remove those, you're not going to use them. And I'm using a Phillips screwdriver, not a flat blade screwdriver. In the box that these came in, there's also a long assortment of nuts and bolts screws. Out of all of these, you're only going to use 4 of them. All the rest of these are extras. And they're all different sizes and lengths and stuff like that. So one of the things you have to be careful of when you are finding which set of screws, see where I just took and I just hand tightened the screw down. See how much of the gap is remaining? There's a metal stop that's designed to prevent the screw from going any further in there. One of the things you got to keep in mind is that do not take your Phillips screwdriver and keep cranking, because it'll go through the stop and into the back of the screen, and you've just bought yourself a TV. So one of the things that happens fairly often is that the manufacturers of the TV wall mounts will give their best guess as to what will work. And so we took a few minutes to find the right combination of spacers so that they would physically hold these in. So this turned out to be the right combination for us. So one of the things I do is that there's different slots in the thing. I'll actually push it all the way up so that I know that I'm as far as I can go. That way I know that these are the exact same height. And the reason why that's important is so that when you go to hang the TV on the wall, the TV's level is not cockeyed one way or the other. After I've tightened it, I actually go around one more time and just make sure that I haven't missed one. These are used to lock the TV to the wall so you can't accidentally hit it with your shoulder or something like that. And to unlock it, you actually just push these down just a little bit. What we're going to do now is mount the horizontal piece. And this, a lot of the mounts, the horizontal piece which goes on the wall, and this is what the TV actually hooks on. Not all of them, but a lot of the TV wall mounts, they'll have literally cut into it a little triangle pointing, and this points up. And the other indicator is that the label is done, so if you have it upside down, you can't read it. So have it right side up. You're going to take, and this is popped in, and you know that the verticals are mounted on the TV and they're centered left to right. You take the horizontal, make sure it's centered left to right. And then you take zip ties, and you want to put the zip ties on there tight enough that it takes some work to slide the bracket left to right. So now, if my assistant will come over here for a second and lift it up from the bottom a little bit and top and rotate. And one of the things I'm gonna see, I've got it on my shoulder right here, so you've got the balance. Don't let the thing flip over. You do not remove these packing materials, because one of the things that I did, but I don't think that I mentioned it to Jim, was I actually washed my hands to get rid of the naturally occurring oils on your finger. It's easy to get off, but the less you can put it on the screen, the less it is to take care of it. So I'll just reach over and put a mark and go ahead and put her back down. So we now know where the TV is going to get mounted on the wall. We're actually going to pop these back off, and we're actually going to go through the process of mounting the horizontal piece. And a little set of nippers can be anything. And pop, pop, and. So now what we're going to do is, with my helper again, if you'll hold this and see where it's right there, and we're going to do a little bit of exploring to see where the studs are. So you slide it to the right and see how it's starting to show that there's something there, and it'll turn. And then if you go, now there's an actual stud right here. As you keep going back, it'll start disappearing again as you go off the other side. So that's pretty close. That's actually almost perfect. One of the things I do, rather than draw a pencil mark, is I just use regular painter's tape, and because you can just peel it back off. Glasses. There you go. So I know that I'm pretty close to right here. And you can also flip it upside down. So you'll see in this particular one's a red arrow, so I'm just going to slide it over a little bit and bring her down. The reason why I started doing this particular technique, I was putting a TV in for a client 4 or 5 years ago and was not happy that I was drawing pencil marks on the wall. So see how it's lined up? And then if you come to the other side, so that's pretty close. What we can do is here, we're actually going to slide the mount a little bit this way, because I know that the bolt will actually drill in right here. So, and then the other one, let's do this. There you go. So now, if you look here, I know the stud's on this side, but I've got solid metal, so I'm actually going to slide this a little bit more. So remember how I said that you can have the horizontal piece off center from where the TV is, but because you can put the verticals and slide it, it doesn't matter that this is off center. You can also have a bolt here and a bolt here and nothing on this side. It's plenty strong. So here, if you are comfortable putting pencil marks on the wall, you do not need to do this. But if you got somebody that doesn't want it, then definitely do this. See where it lit up? Come in from the other side. So I know that my studs are right there, and then you can just peel it back off. So one of the things that happens is, in the same kit that comes with the wall mount, you're going to get 4 lag bolts. And you want to pre-drill, and what you do is, you want a drill bit that is small enough that if you hold it up, that you can actually see the threads on both sides. Cordless drill works great for this. And one of the things you do is you drill only as deep as it's going to go in. So sometimes on this particular case, the drill bit's a little bit too long, but so let me show you this. Here. So in this particular case, I'm only drilling, like I'm still going to leave about this much of it out. You don't have to, but it's a good idea. So, and you put the drill, if it's 2 speeds, you put it on the faster speed. Forgot something. One of the things that happens is in a home rather than a warehouse, I would have a drop cloth here to pick up any debris or stuff like that. And the other thing that I do is I'll just take a piece of just same kind of painter's tape, and I'll actually put it right below and have it hanging out a little bit, and it'll grab some, not all the sheetrock dust that falls down. And sometimes I do a combination. So now when you're drilling, I actually drill slightly downhill, just a little bit, and it's not much, like 4 or 5 degrees, so that if by any chance I happen not to go completely in the stud and the TV wants to pull away, this is very, very unlikely. The TV mount's got to go uphill, so it's just a little margin of safety. So high speed. And then socket wrench, socket on here. I've got rhythm. Okay, so now, so once you've got this almost all the way down, you would take a level, and this is a level that actually has a magnetic strip on the bottom, and you just put it right there, and helper is going to raise it up so that you want the bubble not only between the lines, but dead center between the lines. So I've tightened this down enough that I could still do this, and I'm going to go crank it a little bit more. And as you feel this thing starting to tighten up, stop. And he's still going to stay there. I look to make sure the bubble's still in the center. I grab my drill, still on high speed, and I drill this side. And I'm drilling slightly downhill. Sorry. I look, it's still perfectly centered in here. Then drill the 2 bottom ones. Same idea. Up very slightly. And then once I pull form down, I actually go through just one time just to make sure that they're all, and I actually physically just reach up and just make sure all the washers are tight. So mounts on the wall. So now we take the TV, and we're actually gonna literally just hang it on the wall. When we do that, these knobs that are here, I loosen them up and I bring it back like this. Yep. And then tighten it back up just a little bit, just enough so there's a little bit of friction. There you go. Keep in mind I've washed my hands. Hold on. And this time, so now, it's good. So now what I do is I step back and I go, whoa, it's way to the left. So I grab the TV on the sides, not the top and the bottom. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put in what's called a power relocation kit. And one of the reasons why is people love the look of TVs on a wall, looks very clean, but they don't want to see cables running down. Kind of defeats the purpose. So we're going to lift the TV back off the wall, and I'm going to go through the steps of how to get the power that's there up inside the wall so you don't see anything and it looks very clean. So we're going to pull this back off the wall. And we're going to use, this is a power relocation kit. This is cable. This is actually just regular electrical cable like you see in a wall, but it's rated for being inside a wall. So this goes behind the TV. This part goes down in the wall behind here, and there's a cable to plug from here to here. And they even give you the saw for cutting. So here. So now, one of the considerations is when you are deciding where to put this, on this particular mount, because it's a tilting mount, to make it for a clean look, we're actually going to mount it in the wall, inside the bracket. If you're trying to figure out where to mount this, whether to this side or this side, take a look at the back of the TV. So this would be roughly right about here. So you've got, on this particular TV, the power is on this side, all the HDMI cables are on this side. What I would do is probably put it right here, but we're going to check to make sure. What we're going to do is put the TV back up on the wall. We're going to look to see where these vertical brackets actually lay out here, because it might find that we're better off on this side or this side, we don't know yet. So we're going to take the TV, put it back up. There. And actually we'll look over the top. And in this particular case, the center third is the best place to put it. So bring her back. There. This is roughly the size of this. So this will give me a good general guideline. It's not perfect, but it'll get me in the right ballpark for cutting it. And here. When you are mounting this, you want to make sure that there's a stud right here, that you don't do the cutout so that this edge is right up next to the stud, because there is, these are called dog legs, but they pop out. If the stud's right here, it can't turn and there's nothing to hold this in. So you want to leave roughly about an inch air gap. So like the studs are right there, you want to leave at least 2 fingers width over so that that can flip over and catch it. Oh, actually, pencil would be easier. So studs here. So now I'm testing just to make sure it's a good fit. Looks good. So now what I'm going to do is mount the bottom part. When you're mounting this, this is important that it's inside the same stud area, because usually it'll go just directly down below it. And when you're cutting this out, try to have it so it's the same height as this. With somebody walking in the room, it just looks right. So here. I usually sit back visually just to see, make sure I'm looking about right. Do the same thing. So I pop this back out, and it's most houses, most of the time, the TV is going on an interior wall where typically there's no insulation in the wall. If it had been an exterior wall where there was insulation, one of the things you'll probably need is a fish tape, which in some of the kits, it actually comes with it. And the purpose of the tape is to drop it down, hook your wire, and just pull it back up. In this particular case, because the wall is an interior wall and there is no insulation, we're just going to drop it down. Now this involves sometimes a helper, usually you can do it by yourself. A lot of times you can actually see and you can reach in the hole and grab it. There you go. So with this, here's where your low voltage cables are going to go in, up the wall, and come out right here. So let's see how to show it. The outlet, this goes here, and this actually snaps in, and there's a cover that goes here. And you heard the snap when it went in. And in order to make sure that you can't possibly that the cover can pop back off, there are 2 screws that goes on the back side to hold it in place. There we go. That part's done. The next thing we're going to do is drop down the HDMI cable, basically the low voltage signal cable. We're actually dropping a second HDMI cable as a spare, just in case future new technology, whatever like that. And we're also going to drop down an Ethernet cable. Even if you've got really good, strong Wi-Fi signal here, it's nice to have that done now. Cable's really cheap, labor's not. So here's an HDMI cable, UL approved. It's in-wall rated. Some cables will have printed right on the end, it'll have the word source, and then the other end will have the word display or TV. If it's marked that way, make sure that the display or TV is at the TV, and then they automatically the other end's like that. If it's not, it doesn't matter. So on this one, it doesn't matter. So dropping this through. Notice I have not put this in yet. And there's a slot here. Now I'm running the HDMI spare. Because HDMI cables, they've gotten so inexpensive and such high performance that it's totally worth doing just for the lack of hassle in the future. And this, just for the example, this just is a white Ethernet cable. Don't use Cat5 or anything lower than that, at least Cat5e or 6. And I usually use, we just didn't have it, I try to get this in black so it blends in, but I mean, for purposes of this, it'll work just fine. There you go. So now that I've got the 3, I button this back up. This lever pops out this way. This lever pops this way. So the levers grab the back of the sheetrock. The sheetrock is actually the filler in the sandwich. Then this cover. Like this. I'm not snapping this in because it's hard to get it back off. So notice there's quite a bit of length here. In a minute, we're going to put the TV, we're going to hook this up, and actually I can do the bottom one right now. Now, one of the things you can do, you can actually take the cables, because it's in-wall rated, and then when you need them, just pull them out. And where is, and this is just a regular, ordinary 3-prong extension cable. But you can plug it in here, plug it into your outlet, and now we're going to take the TV and we're actually going to hook it up. So here, and hook it, and then see if you can, I'm going to hold it up, see if you can reach up underneath and plug it in. And you want to go over, not from below, but from above. So it's sitting above the hooks and stuff like that. Actually hand it to me and I'll here. Then we lay it down. And in this particular case, I can actually, slide her back. And we're going to tilt it out a little bit. There you go. If the TV had the kind where the plug was removable, I actually plug it in first, then I plug it into the TV. It's just easier, better maneuverability. So now I bring the cables, we're going to plug it in here, and we've got the TV locked into place. Your next step would be to turn it on, power up, do the setup, stuff like that. And we've already done part of that here just in terms of expediency. And now you just pick your apps or whatever like that. Or if you do have a rooftop antenna, this will be the time that you would actually go through and set the channels up for that. And that's pretty much it for how to install a TV on the wall. If you've got more questions, totally cool to call us, email, chat. We've been doing this a long time, and this is just really fun stuff to have in your house. Thank you very much.